Today's topic is embryology of the endocrine glands. So let us recap the basics. Three-layer disc in the embryo consists of ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, and the notochord lying in the midline extending from primitive knot to procaudal plate. This notochord is going to be the guide to the future developing nervous system or neural tube. So in this picture B you can see the ectoderm lying just above the notochord. It differentiates into specialized cells called neuroectoderm. Now these cells are called neuroectodermal cells and it forms a thickened neural plate. At the edge of the neural plate on either side, at the junction of neural ectoderm and the rest of the ectoderm, there are some specialized cells in pale yellow color that you can see neural crest cells. Neural crest cells are present at the junction of neuroectoderm and rest of the ectoderm. You can appreciate it in this picture better. The neural plate, it further invaginates or depresses to form a groove. Now it is called neural groove. You can see the neural crest cells present at the junction of neuroectodermal cells and the rest of the general ectoderm. In the meantime, you can also see the mesoderm is differentiating into its three types. What are those? Lateral plate mesoderm, intermediate mesoderm and paroxial mesoderm. The notochord is still present, and in this picture the neural groove further depresses to form a hollow tube or canal, that is the neural tube. This is your future nervous system which includes brain and spinal cord. The neural crest cells comes and arrange in at the supralateral aspects, okay, on either sides of the neural tube. So this neural tube, it is going to grow or extend cranially, and the cranial most end of the neural canal is going to form your future brain. First, this cranial end enlarges and multiple flexures appears, so that it is divided into prosencephalon, mesencephalon and rhombencephalon. Prosencephalon is your forebrain, mesencephalon is your midbrain and rhombencephalon is your hindbrain. So the prosencephalon is important now. So it divides into telencephalon and diencephalon. To say appropriately, it doesn't actually divide. The prosencephalon forms the diencephalon and the telencephalon it appears as a diverticulum on either side of the diencephalon. Then it grows and grows and it becomes much larger than the actual diencephalon. Development of the pituitary gland. So this is the prosencephalon and it is a hollow cranial most end of the neural canal, and the telencephalon appears as a small diverticulum on either side of the diencephalon. The left side picture shows the lateral view, the right side picture shows the coronal section. So you can see the cavity within that. Then later the telencephalic diverticulum grows and grows and it outgrows or overhangs the diencephalon. So this telencephalon is your future cerebral hemispheres. So it overhangs the diencephalon, and that's how your thalamus, hypothalamus, everything is sandwiched between your cerebral hemispheres and comes to lie in the midline. Okay, and now it completely overhangs the diencephalon, and the cavity within the diencephalon is third ventricle. So now we put a sagittal section through the midline, and it reveals the walls of the third ventricle, means the inner aspect of the diencephalon walls. So we take this sagittal section picture of the diencephalon, and it is divided into three areas by two sulcus. epithalamic sulcus and hypothalamic sulcus. The part above the epithalamic sulcus is called epithalamus. The part below the hypothalamic sulcus is called hypothalamus. In between these two sulcus is your future thalamus. And anterior, the black area, shaded area is your interventricular foramen connecting third and lateral ventricle. Okay. So you can see the blue projection or diverticulum from the lower border of the hypothalamus. That is your future posterior pituitary. We know pituitary has two lobes, anterior lobe and posterior lobe, and we call it, we say intermediate lobe is also present in some textbooks. This pituitary diverticulum from the hypothalamus is going to form only posterior pituitary, and you can see the thalamus, it has grown and almost occupied most of the area, and epithalamus has become very much insignificant. The only significance is the origin of pineal gland from the epithalamus. The thalamus area forms the thalamus. So this diverticulum, which is going to form posterior pituitary, which is otherwise called neurohypophysis, because it will be having only nerve fibers carrying the secretions, that is oxytocin and vasopressin, from the hypothalamus to pituitary. You all know that physiology. This diverticulum starts to grow downwards. Then about the anterior pituitary, you see the picture of the fetus on the left lower corner, and stomatodium is the future mouth. So just in front of the stomatodium there appears a diverticulum in the roof. See the arrow indicating the green colored diverticulum. It grows upwards, and this diverticulum is called Rathke's pouch. And this Rathke's pouch grows and tries to get approximated near the downward diverticulum from the hypothalamus, that is your posterior pituitary. So soon this Rathke's pouch is cut off from the stomatodium. Then this Rathke's pouch and the downward diverticulum from the hypothalamus get approximated each other. Now the anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary is formed. The cleft or the hollow cavity of the Rathke's pouch, it is called the pituitary cleft, and this cleft divides the anterior pituitary into pars anterior, pars intermedia, and then the part of the anterior pituitary that is lying on the stalk is called pars tuberalis. Sometimes this Rathke's pouch can be persistent, or the remnant of the pouch can be present in the live person, and that could be the site for the nasopharyngeal carcinoma of adrenals. So, remember what's the development of urogenital system? So it develops from urogenital ridge. It present on either side of your developing gut. See in the midline you can see the developing gut suspended by the mesentery, and on either sides urogenital ridge is present, from which your genital system gonads is going to develop, and the urinary system having those pronephros, mesonephros, metanephros, all those things are going to develop. So adrenals develop at the space between the urogenital ridge and the root of the mesentery. Look at this picture. So the small violet color shaded area, so that is the site where adrenal is going to develop. So to be specific, your adrenal cortex. Okay, so the coelomic epithelium present at that site between the urogenital ridge and the root of the mesentery, it begins to proliferate and form the fetal adrenal cortex. Why I am saying cortex means, so the adrenal glands have two different origins. So the cortex is mesodermal in origin. I repeat, mesodermal in origin. It develops from coelomic epithelium. But what about the adrenal medulla? It is ectodermal in origin. To be specific, crest cells. So remember where it will be present. The neural crest cells will be present at the junction of neural plate and rest of the ectoderm. So while the coelomic epithelium present near the urogenital ridge, it proliferates to form the fetal cortex. This neural crest cells which surrounds the neural tube, it migrates to this site, and later it gets embedded and surrounded by this coelomic epithelium. Now the coelomic epithelium, that cluster is called fetal cortex. That is still not your mature adult adrenal cortex. Okay, this neural crest cells differentiates into your future adrenal medulla, and the fetal cortex cell slowly starts differentiating into 3 layers of the adrenal cortex. At first, the outermost cells forms the zona glomerulosa. This is what you see at the birth of the child. Soon after birth, it slowly the other 2 layers gets differentiated, and finally around 3 years of age you can appreciate all the 3 layers in the adrenal cortex. And so because of the presence of the fetal cortex at birth, the adrenal gland is usually larger than the adult adrenal gland, and later as soon as it differentiates into 3 layers and becomes the adult form of cortex, and it shrinks in size. So the same thing explained in this picture. See the fetal medulla and fetal cortex. The fetal medulla gets incorporated into the fetal cortex, and the zona glomerulosa is formed along, and also a capsule is formed around all these, and later the fetal cortex slowly differentiates into 3 layers: zona glomerulosa, reticularis and fasciculata at around 3 years of age.